I think we've all heard the phrase that hyper-independence is a trauma response. I think there's some truth to it, but at the same time, I sometimes get frustrated by people saying that because hyper-independence is also made by the fact that so many people have experienced being let down over and over again. And they've just had to do things themselves, even when they didn't want to. They would have loved some help. I know I've been there. And I think at times to lower my expectations and not have my heart broken, I have just said, the lesson is just not to rely on people. Always have a backup plan. I think that's not the correct lesson. I think the lesson is to stop trying to rely on unreliable people. When people have shown you their character or shown you their capacity, then believe it. Some people are not bad people, but they just aren't good at the thing that you might need them to show up for. There might be a better person for that particular task. I think, especially with friendships, when we have somebody that we really trust, we really like, we get along with, we kind of want to go to them for everything because there's someone we trust. But that same person we trust, maybe they are really good at giving advice and keeping secrets, and maybe they're generous, and maybe they like keep you motivated, but maybe they're the friend that has time blindness. So relying on them to like show up and help you set up a party, that's not going to be their forte. You're setting yourself up for frustration and setting them up, to fail. Now, the first time someone disappoints you, you probably had no idea that it would happen. Sometimes these scenarios come up and you're like, oh, I didn't know that they behaved that way. Once they do, you now know how to move accordingly. It doesn't mean they can't be in your life or they're not important to you, but that just might not be their forte. I think none of us just want to be hurt or disappointed, and so sometimes it's easier to just shut down and say, that's why I stick to myself, or that's why I really don't want to make new friends, or that's why I don't hang out with this group of people. But it's just like, go into it knowing who they are and expecting nothing less and nothing more for that matter. I think we need to just help people play to their strengths. I'm not going to have a talk with someone about different things that I think are just like things that people should know as adults. Like, the time one was, I think, in my opinion, a good example. If you have someone that that is like chronically late, like they get written up at work, they're not going to be on time for your brunch. I'm sorry, like this is a lifestyle for them. If you have a friend who reads text messages and then thinks they replied and they didn't, like, that that's who they are. So I think in some cases it's worth working around. They're not people that need to be like shut out of your life, but they just don't need to be put in a position where they can fail at some test that they were never meant to pass. Does that make sense? I was just thinking about that, and I just don't want to have a hard heart because of things that have happened, disappointments, the way people behave. I want to have like reasonable expectations, because people can show up. I know they can show up for me. I know they can show up for you, but they need to have the freedom in my life to show up the best way that they can.